Khalifa, do you know where he used to reside? He used to reside in the middle of the palace. His mother was still alive, and so he used to reside. There used to be two slave girls who'd always be in his bedroom. They'd sit on each side of the room, and they'd be around him, helping him with whatever he needs. The narration says that one night he's trying to sleep. He's fidgeting one way, the other, moving one way, the other. He cannot sleep. Then suddenly these two start talking. When they start talking, it starts affecting him. He wants to sleep. He hears women talking. So what does he do? He looks at them, and then all of a sudden, he wants to stand up, but the conversation gets interesting. One of them says to the other that, you know what, you're going to burn in hell. And the other says to her, no, you're going to burn in hell. The other one replied, no, you are. Because if you really want that man, you'll join that man and his family going towards hellfire. He's listening in, he's thinking, why? She says, the other one says to her, why? She replies by saying, because they've taken the leadership of Zainul Abidin. The leadership which he has does not belong to him, it belongs to Zainul Abidin. And they took it away from his father, Hussein ibn Ali. When he heard this, he came forward. All of a sudden, he thought, what have I done? I'm sitting in the hands of a person or in the position of power of someone who has usurped the rights of Ahlul Bayt. He came out. When he came out, where did he go? He went towards the both of them. He confirmed what they said. He made an announcement the next day. Everybody has to come to the mosque. People normally come to the mosque for Jum'ah, not for any other day. People were wondering, why does the Khalifa want us to come to the mosque? He stood up. He said, I have a khutbah to give. From this day onwards, I relinquish the Khilafah which belongs to Muhammad and Al Muhammad. The Khilafah belongs to Al Muhammad. My father has usurped it. And I wish I was not born to a man who killed the son of Fatima al-Zahra. You know, when his mother heard this, she said, I wish I was in my menstrual cycle before giving birth to someone like you. He said, I do not care. I have now found the truth, nor do I care. My father Yazid is my root. What I have achieved and what I have is because of him. But if you're telling me that I have to go against Allah and His people, that I will not do. He removed himself from the Khilafah until he was killed by the poison of Marwan ibn al-Hakam. Marwan ibn al-Hakam thought, this person's a danger to us, the way he's talking. He went and he got poisoned. He recognized that his father is a root. Yet on the other hand, he recognized that Al Muhammad come ahead of his father. Number one. Number two, Harun al-Rashid had a son who used to give him a lot of trouble. Why? Because his son used to love Imam Musa al-Kadhim. Salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi. His son used to love the Imam. The soldiers of Harun Rashid would come up to him and say to him, your son's giving us a lot of trouble. He'd say, why? They'd say, because he walks with Musa al-Kadhim. He said, don't worry about it. He's a young man. When he grows up, I'll give him a few palaces in Baghdad. He'll be all right. He grew up. Still, there was no change. One day, Harun Rashid called him. I am your root. It's because of me that you have what you have. Now I'm going to give you a few palaces and you leave Musa al-Kadhim. You're bringing us embarrassment by walking with him. He replied by saying, no, father, it's you who brings me embarrassment in the way you treat him. When he said that, you think it's easy for someone to go against their father when their father's not religious? But if you explain it in a way of dialogue, sometimes you'll find your fathers may look at it from a different angle. What he did, he said to his father, oh father, what do you want to do to me? He said, I expel you from my palace. Leave me. You don't have no relation to me anymore. He left. He went away. Do you know what he began to work as? A bricklayer. The son of the king of Baghdad ends his life laying bricks. But in this world, he's a bricklayer. Imagine the gold bricks of Jannah that await him. When he was laying bricks, the person who employed him, do you know what he said to him? He said, he narrates the story, he said that this person was such a great worker. Yet I didn't know what his name was. I didn't know where he had come from. So he became ill, and I noticed that the illness was a severe fever now. So he said, I thought, let me go to him. Let me ask who his family is, so at least I can give the wages to his family. He said, I came towards him, I sat next to him, I said, Salamu alaikum, alaikum salam. You know, you've worked for me tremendously, but I'd like to know, what's your name? He said, I am the son of Harun al-Rashid. You know when the face turns blue? Because you're employing the son of Harun al-Rashid, it means execution shouldn't be far away now. So he said to him at that moment, you're the son of Harun al-Rashid, as in Harun as in Khalifa, Baghdad, palace, state, kingdom, Khurasan? Said to him, yes. He said to him, look, you can have all my bricks and my building, anything you want, take it. He said to him, no, don't worry about it. He said to him, all I'm going to give you is my ring. This ring of mine, I want you to give it to my father. Because my father is good at collecting things for this world. And as for me, I'm going to give you the Quran, for I have collected it for the hereafter. Imagine Harun al-Rashid's son comes out like this. He began to cry, this person, he said, I began to cry when looking at him. And then I said to him, don't worry about this. You're going to recover from this illness. Come with me. He replied by saying, I cannot come with you. He said to him, why? He said, because now I have to go somewhere else. He said to him, where? He said, you're ill. Where are you going to go? He said, I see Ali ibn Abi Talib coming towards me to take me with him. He passed away in this way. In this way, the son of Harun al-Rashid. The third person who died in a way different from his father was Umar bin Abdul Aziz. Umar bin Abdul Aziz was one of the Khulafa of Bani Umayyah. His father, Abdul Aziz, brother of the whole of the Umayyad state. Umar, when he became Khalifa, remembered an incident when he was younger. When Umar used to say that when I was younger, I used to recite the Quran with a personal tutor. He said whenever we'd swear, our swear words would be to curse Ali ibn Abi Talib. That's how they used to curse. The man who built the religion, 50 years later, is being cursed by children. So he says, one day when I cursed Ali ibn Abi Talib, my tutor looked at me. When he looked at me, he frowned. He said, when he frowned, I looked at him and I said, why are you frowning at me? Imagine a 6-year-old talks like that. He says to him, why are you frowning at me? He said to him, haven't I read the Quran with you as your tutor? He said, yes. He said, didn't we read the story of the Battle of Badr in the Quran? He said, yes, of course you did. He said to him, in the Battle of Badr, if I were to tell you of someone who killed 35 out of the 70 of the opposition, what would you say about him, young man? He said, I'd say he's a great person. He'd say, Ali ibn Abi Talib on the day of Badr killed half of the opposition, and we come and curse him? He said, from that day onwards, my root was Umayyad, and the blessings I had were Umayyad, but my mentality was now to support Muhammad and al-Muhammad. When he became Khalifa at the age of 30, the first thing he did was give the land of Fadak back to Imam al-Baqir. He gave the land of Fadak back. He said, that doesn't belong to us. We've usurped it. He gave it back to Imam al-Baqir. The second thing he did was he stopped the cursing of Amir al-Mu'mineen. That cursing which used to continue on the pulpits every Friday, he said, no more of this cursing of the man who helped build this religion. Instead, he changed the lines on that Friday khutbah. And that's why he goes to show us when the Imam says, as the final passage in Risalat al-Huquq, when you know your father's the blessings, you should thank Allah for what He has given you in the father that He's given you. Because while many of us in this hall met our fathers, lived with our fathers, were brought up with our fathers, there are many in the world who lost their fathers at a very young age. There are many who never got to see their fathers. Qasim ibn al-Hasan was 3 years old when his father's poison was affecting his body. He didn't even manage to see his father in those days. There are others in the world whose fathers were imprisoned by tyrannical regimes. They never got to see their fathers. When you got to see your father, don't waste the blessings you have with your father. Try and take that every moment and acknowledge what you have with your father. Because only someone who's lost his father will tell you about the days he remembered smiling with his father. About the days when his father would hug him or console him. Be a person who would discipline him, but care for him and play with him. You find that it's an honor and a blessing when you are able to be brought up with a father who instills in you the teachings of Islam and the love of Al-Muhammad. That's why Umar bin Abdul Aziz, when people used to praise him for his greatness, he used to say, you say I am great when alongside me lives Zainul Abidin. And he used to say, what greater personality in this religion than Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. People used to say in the books that Umar bin Abdul Aziz used to receive inspiration from God. He used to say, if I receive inspiration, then what does Zainul Abidin receive? And shall I tell you why Imam Zainul Abidin was so close to his father? Because Imam Zainul Abidin was an orphan after a few days of his life. Because his mother died after giving birth to him. So he was brought up by that father. Can you imagine how hard it is, brothers and sisters, that you are brought up by your father for the first 23 years of your life?